joined by Dini. He/stayed computer games promotion and marketing assistant at Manchester Met University. Would you like to introduce yourself with your name and what year you graduated in?
Yeah, so my name's Isaac and I graduated in 2018.
Cool. Can you briefly tell us what your job role is and what led you to pursue this job position?
So my job is a lead producer at a publishing company, and it wasn't really rather I fell into it from other roles in the games industry.
What specific aspects of your education do you think were the most valuable in helping you get your job in the industry?
I think looking back, whilst it maybe isn't the most fun subject, it was definitely professional development. Having time set aside where you just learn the tools that people use every day. I think that gives you such a leg up when you first get your first job, rather than spending your days learning how to fit in the existing systems. You have the tools to kind of operate within them, and then you can focus on what your job actually is, and so you can make a better impression, really.
I remember enjoying that one. It was quite good. So how did you land your first job, and can you walk us through the application and interview process?
So my first job, it was just a email CV. I got recommended it from somebody I knew already in the industry, and they said, "Hey, I've seen this job going. It seems perfect for you. Here's the page to see it." And I just wrote a CV, wrote a cover letter, emailed it off to the guy, and a few weeks later, got an email back saying, "Hey, want to do an interview? Come down to the office." And then went to the interview, and it was kind of like every other interview you'd ever have, just two people across the desk asking questions, and then you say goodbye, and then you hope to hear back. And so as it goes, it was kind of a very standard process.
Nice. Were there any challenging parts with transitioning from being just a regular university student to a working industry professional?
Yeah, I think the main thing was just actually learning how games are made. You can have it all in theory, but when you're in there and you're doing it day to day, there's so many aspects that you're just not aware of. From different roles or different technical things that have to happen. And I think a lot of the learning was just kind of readjusting your expectations of how a game is made.
Were there any specific skills or tools you learned during your studies that directly contributed to you getting your first job?
I don't know if it all skills or it's a hard one. I think for me, because my first job was in QA, it was more just experience with games itself. Knowing how to fix problems as a developer, but also how that might work out as a player. So I think really it comes more down to having a strong foundation skills and kind of a few little different aspects, and then that together it's a good building platform.
How important was your portfolio in securing your position, and what tips would you give current students about creating a strong portfolio?
For me, a portfolio wasn't a part at all, really. And I think for a lot of jobs in industry, a portfolio doesn't really make sense. But equally, on the other hand, so many jobs do need a portfolio. And so I think having a portfolio that is more than just your university work, I think is the main thing. Because everyone that's hiring generally has gone through similar courses or has seen so many portfolios that they know what is a task given by university rather than a project you've done individually. And so I think that having work that isn't those tasks, one stands out way more and kind of shows you off as you are as a person. But also try and diversify your portfolio, not in what you can do. And so if you have an art portfolio, show different styles, different genres. But I think keeping your portfolio narrow to what your specification. So if you want to be an artist, keep it to art. Don't talk about design. Don't talk about anything else. Just focus on art. But make sure it's still varied and interesting.
So did you participate in any internships, game jams, or side projects during your studies? And did these experiences impact your job search?
So not during university, but after graduating, I did work with a couple of game studios. It was like a collaboration project in Manchester, and that helped me release my first game on Steam. And that was the main thing that got me to interviews, for saying, "Hey, I finished the project from start to finish the whole way through." And I think having that kind of completed project really did stand out on a CV.
So did you participate? So looking back, is there anything you wish you had done differently during your time as a student that might have made your job searching easier?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of comes back to the CV question. I think doing personal projects and doing things that aren't directly related to the course topics, and having things you can show that you've done that interests you rather than you've done because you've been told to do so. I think having those kind of things to show off really does, put you a step ahead of everyone else.
What advice would you give to current students or recent graduates who are struggling to break into the games industry in particular?
I think it comes down to just applying for everything. Like when I graduated, there's so many jobs that I know exist now that I didn't know beforehand. Just because there's so many like very niche jobs or very specific jobs that when you learn about the industry, you aren't really told about. So I think apply for everything, because even if it's not the thing you want, once you've got that first job, it's quite easy to transition into different disciplines within the industry. So apply for everything. That's the only way, really.
So that was all the questions I had for you today. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
See you later.